There's a spider on my wall and I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't even care. Alright, spider, you can live in my bedroom. It's distracting me. Okay. Hey guys, so for today's video, I wanted to make it about my jaw surgery, which I had on May 28th, so it was a while ago. I'm still recovering from it, technically, but overall, everything's basically healed and like I can eat normally and everything. I just wanted to make this video because I figured that maybe there were some people who wanted to know about like what I had to go through and everything for the jaw surgery, and there are probably people out there who are going to have the surgery done who might want to know what they're about to be in for. So hopefully this video will help someone out there, because I know like when I went into the surgery, I really did not know what to expect. And it was a lot worse, honestly, than I expected it to be. But keep in mind that my experience with the surgery is not going to be necessarily the same as yours, because it really depends like who you go to and what exactly you're getting done, because it is different from person to person and how intense your surgery is actually going to be. I'll just start out with saying that I knew I had to get my surgery for my jaw when I was a lot younger, maybe like 10 years old or something like that. And it's because I had a really bad underbite, which was like pretty bad, to the point where you can't fix it with braces. So I had to get surgery, and they had to wait until my teeth were completely straightened by my braces, which basically all that took until I was 18. So I had to schedule the surgery like over a month in advance, maybe even a couple months, it depends. I had to go to the surgeon a lot to get like impressions and x-rays, because they need to make a thing to put in your mouth for the surgery. I don't know how to explain it, but like it holds your teeth in place, and they do all the impressions so they can like go on the computer and look at where they actually need to move your jaw, like what direction, how much, and stuff like that, so it's properly aligned perfectly. Like my jaw, to fix my underbite, they had to move my upper jaw forward a lot, and then they had to also move my lower jaw back a little bit. Plus my lower jaw was like off center, so they had to like twist it kind of. So yeah, not necessarily everyone needs to have surgery on both their jaws. Usually it's just their upper or their lower jaw. My lower jaw was protruding enough that they couldn't just move my upper jaw forward a bunch, because they can't move it that much. They also had to move my lower jaw backwards. So because I had surgery on both my upper and lower jaw, it obviously made things more intense. Plus they had to move it a lot more than I'd say the average person. So for the day of the surgery, I had to go into the hospital at like 6 or 6:30 in the morning. And you know, I waited in the waiting room, and then someone got me, and I went into this room and like put on my hospital gown and like laid on the bed. Someone came in to like check on me, and then they had me like brush my teeth with this weird toothpaste and like rinse my mouth out with some weird mouthwash. And they like had me lay down on the bed, and like they hooked up my IV and explained to me how they were going to do the anesthesia. They wheeled me into another room, and this is kind of where my memory gets like blurry. They wheeled me into some other room. I think they told me when they were like putting the stuff in to like put me out, but I honestly just like blacked out. And then I woke up. It was like no time even passed, but when I woke up was kind of unclear. I just slowly regained consciousness, and I was like really like woozy and like tired, and I felt like sick, because I just had like surgery for like 6 hours. And for the surgery, they also put hooks on your braces so they can rubber band your mouth shut after the surgery is done, so it keeps your jaw in place so you don't like mess it up. So I had my mouth completely rubber banded shut, so I couldn't open it or move it at all. And my face was so swollen. Some people, when I tell them about the surgery, they compare it to getting their wisdom teeth out. And I can tell you right now that that is like completely different. Like, I understand getting your wisdom teeth out isn't a fun experience, but getting your jaw cut and disconnected from your face and moved, and then they stitch it up, put screws in your jaw to hold it in place, that's a little bit more intense. My cheeks were swollen, like probably as much as someone who got their wisdom teeth out if they swell a lot, like chipmunk cheeks. And then my chin was all swollen too, and my lips were really swollen, like really, really bad. And then my nose was swollen, and my cheeks were like, I don't know, just like all of this was swollen, everything. And I got like bruising on my neck and my arms and stuff like that. My arm from the IV, I think I got bruising, and my neck bruised and my chin a little bit. So I woke up in the recovery room or something. I don't remember. I think I woke up in some kind of recovery room, and then they wheeled me into another room where I stayed the night because they had me stay overnight, and they actually almost made me stay 2 nights. But yeah, they wheeled me into this other room, and I was so miserable because I was like starting to be awake. I couldn't talk at all. My face was numb. I wasn't really in any pain. Like my chin and my upper lip and like cheeks and everything was just numb. So I couldn't feel anything. The reason for that is because when they're doing the surgery, they work really close to your nerves. So if they like hit one of the nerves, you're probably gonna be numb like for the rest of your life. Some people never get the feeling back, but that's not common, especially when you're as young as I am and you have this surgery. I have been getting the feeling back. Still, the feeling isn't completely there, but it is coming back. I have the feeling basically everywhere now besides my chin. It's like tingly, and it hurts a little bit actually when I touch it. But yeah, the day of the surgery, just completely numb, couldn't feel a thing. Couldn't talk, obviously. If I had to say something, I'd have to type it out on my phone because there was just no other way. So I was in this room just sitting there like all day because I think I was done with the surgery and everything by like 2 or 3 o'clock. So I just sat in this room, and I couldn't eat or drink, obviously. If I wanted to drink anything, I had to use a syringe, and it's like a big syringe, like this big, probably like this big around, with like a long plastic tube thing on the end of it, so I can stick it in the back of my mouth and like squirt liquid down my throat. And that's basically how I drank and how I took my medicine, because I had to take antibiotics and pain medicine. And then when I went home, I had to also take antibacterial mouthwash thing that I rinse my mouth with and spit it out. So yeah, everything that went into my mouth was a syringe because, you know, I couldn't open my mouth at all. And also I had trouble breathing. Because of my underbite, I never really breathed through my nose because an underbite can like, I don't know the exact biological reason for this, but it messes up your like nasal passages or something so that you can't really breathe through your nose easily. So it's just a lot more comfortable to be a mouth breather. So that's basically what I was before my surgery happened. So I was used to breathing through my mouth, which I obviously couldn't do at this point because my mouth was shut. My nose was congested with like mucus and dry blood from the surgery because blood gets all up in your nose. You get random nosebleeds too, which is really fun after the surgery. So I had all this like congestion in my nose, and a lot of times the mucus and the dry blood would like drain into like my throat, and it would get in my mouth, and I couldn't spit it out because you know, like my mouth is shut completely and I cannot open it. So there would be like this like mucus in my mouth and like bloody and like gross. And I was so miserable because I couldn't spit it out. And they had like this suction thing that I could use to stick it in my mouth and like suck it out of the back of my mouth. It was annoying because I had to keep using that to suction the stuff out of my mouth. And it was like one of those things they use at the dentist when they're suctioning out your saliva, when they have your mouth open and they're suctioning out like all the water and stuff too. It's like one of those basically, but I was using it to suction mucus out of my mouth. I was literally going for it like every 15 minutes, like suctioning shit out of my mouth because, I don't know, it was just horrible. I hated it. So that day, basically all I ate or drank was apple juice and like some water, and I might have drank some Boost that day. That night, I did not sleep at all because I just felt like shit. I was miserable. My face was numb, so obviously it wasn't because of pain, but I was mostly miserable because of congestion and the trouble I had breathing and all the mucus and stuff in my mouth and in my throat that I could feel. It was just so uncomfortable. And I remember at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, my mom stayed the night at the hospital with me because I, you know, like I couldn't talk and I was just like so like shit. So yeah, so at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I like woke up my mom via like moaning or something, like because that's all I could do. But I handed her my phone and I basically said like, hey, like I can't sleep, like I feel horrible right now. And so she called the nurse and said I couldn't sleep, and asked the nurse if I could take some medicine to like help me sleep. And the nurse guy person was like, oh no, you can't, because it's already after midnight and we can't give you any sleep aid stuff after midnight. So I was like, okay, cool, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning now. I can't sleep. I'm not going to sleep. I'm just gonna lay here for the next 6 hours until morning, and who knows, I didn't even know like if I was gonna go home the next day, so that was really cool. I might have like fallen asleep a little bit for like, you know, 5 minutes and then woken up again, but like pretty much I did not sleep at all that night. I woke up next morning, or didn't wake up because I didn't sleep, but you know, the next morning came when everyone around me woke up. My oral surgeon at some point came in to see me and said that, you know, you look great, haha, like just kidding, you look like shit because you just had surgery. But he said I looked better than most people, or a lot of people after surgery look, as far as like my swelling goes and stuff like that. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I was like bedridden, where I could not get out of bed at all. Like if I couldn't go to the bathroom or anything, they had like a tube hooked up to drain the urine out of me, and then I obviously didn't have to poop because I couldn't eat anything and I hadn't eaten anything for like a day, because they don't let you eat the night before the surgery. The surgeon saw me, he was like, all right, like if you want to go home today you can, but first you just need to like get out of bed and walk around and blah blah blah, and then if you feel good enough to go home then you can, but if you want to stay another night you can stay another night. And I was like, I want to go home. So at some point I had to like get up and walk around, and I could barely walk because I had been laying in bed for a day straight. So I had to walk around the hospital and like whatever, went to the bathroom. I think I took a shower that morning, which I don't even know how I managed to do that, because I just like could barely move. Like I was so weak. Then around I think 2 or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock maybe actually, is when I went home. Keep in mind that when I went home I was still very miserable because I had all the mucus and stuff still draining in my throat, but I obviously didn't have one of those suction thingies that I had at the hospital. That was like the only reason why I was contemplating staying at the hospital, is because I had all the dry blood and mucus in my mouth that I couldn't spit out. So yeah, I went home. I took some syringes with me home because my mouth is still rubber banded shut. And I was on like an all liquid diet for 2 or 3 weeks. For I think 2 weeks, my mouth was completely rubber banded shut. I drank mostly Boost and like milkshake with like calorie powder in it. Like I would drink soup if it was blended up, or like broth or whatever. And I would drink like juice mostly and water. And oh my God, when you have your surgery, if you are on an all liquid diet, drink Gatorade instead of water, honestly, because it's so much more refreshing to me. Like cold Gatorade, that tasted so good. I don't even like Gatorade like now, but after my surgery it was like the best thing in the world. I don't know why it was so satisfying, but Gatorade all the way. Basically it was just like that, all liquids for 3 weeks. After 2 weeks they cut out a couple of the rubber bands so that I could slowly move my mouth a little bit. Like every week or 2 weeks they would take out some rubber bands so that it was like a slow progression that I could slowly open up my mouth. And I think after 3 weeks I could start eating food that was like soft and I didn't have to chew it. After like 4 or 5 weeks, probably 5 weeks or something, they said I could take the rubber bands out to eat. I had the surgery on May 28th. So now at this point I can basically eat anything. Even after I had all the rubber bands taken out of my mouth, I still couldn't eat normal food because your mouth just feels so tight and stiff from being stuck in place for, you know, over a month. So it's hard to open it up, and you can kind of like chew. You definitely can't eat like a sandwich or anything because opening it wide enough to take a bite out of something isn't a thing that happens. Even still, I have trouble opening my mouth really wide to like bite into a burger or anything like that. So yeah, like I said, the whole process of the surgery really does depend on the person and like how intense your surgery is and like who your surgeon is and what you're getting done, blah, 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 blah. Like you might not have your mouth completely rubber banded shut at all ever, but that was just mine my experience, you might be able to eat normal food again within a month, even though for me it took like 2 months. It really does depend. The swelling, I would say, went down a lot after the first week. And then there was like subtle swelling right here and like in my cheeks a little bit that slowly went away after a couple months. Like, it was to a point where if you didn't see me before the surgery, you wouldn't really know it was swollen, but if you did, then you could kind of tell it was a little bit swollen. So yeah, I think that's basically all I wanted to say for this video. I don't really know if I left anything out, but if you have any questions about my surgery or anything else I had to go through or like whatever, then feel free to ask me. The only question that I feel like shouldn't be asked is how much my surgery cost, because it doesn't really matter how much mine costs because it's not going to cost the same for you. It just depends who you go to and what exactly you're getting done. Because like my surgery might cost more than other people's because of how intense it was, but if someone has even more intense surgery than mine, it's obviously going to cost more. If your surgery was less intense than mine, it's going to cost less probably. Like what kind of insurance you have and if your insurance covers the surgery. Oh, and I almost forgot, here's my before and after pictures of my surgery, almost the most important thing. The pictures on the top are my before pictures and the pictures on the bottom are my after pictures. Keep in mind on the top pictures I look bad and it's like bad lighting because I literally took those pictures like the morning of my surgery before I went to the hospital. Bottom pictures were when I was at the point where most of my swelling had gone away, but I still had a bit of swelling in my face. So I look kind of like weird and chubby-ish. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos, I would say every 2 weeks, even though I'd like to say I put out a new video every week. But yeah, I put out videos frequently, and if you like them, then subscribe to me, and I'll see you all in my next video, which will be in a week or 2.